Hi everyone, we are Mario Paula, Avril Lopez, and Christian Camelo, and today we want to talk about the analysis of the wasteland by T.S. Eliot. In the introduction, T.S. Eliot, The Wasteland, first published in 1922, is a widely regarded as a defining work of modernist literature. The poem reflects the inspired disillusionment and spiritual emphasis of post-World War I era. It draws on a vast array of literary, historical, and religious references from the Arthurian legend of the fisher kind to the text of Dante, Shakespeare, and Babel, creating a complex tapestry of the plot that fragments human experience. Also, through its portrayal of a barren, desolate landscape and disconnected society, the wasteland captures the crisis of modernity, questioning the loss of traditional values, community, and meaning in an increasingly secular world.
The Wasteland has a lot of themes, however, we decided to choose just three, since we consider that those themes are the most important, and which are fragmentation, and spiritual decadence, and redemption. In this sense, fragmentation represents an image of the modern society itself. That is, this theme shows how brokenness was the people after the first war. Um, Due to some people didn't find a purpose of their own lives, and they didn't find a sense of what they was doing after the after that moment. So because they just had to live with the with the monotonous life that they had to live in that moment. And the second theme is spiritual decadence, which is related to the first theme, fragmentation, since some people didn't find a guidance that allowed them to 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 make a sense of the things, or gave a meaning of the things that was happening in that moment. They they just didn't find someone or a compass that guided them to the new challenge that they had to live in that moment. And finally, the third theme is redemption, um, which is, in the words of Eliot, um, or how Eliot represents that redemption inside the poem, was like um, was like something that was dead, like the the land, and after that death, um, the land could find um, a redemption after that difficult moment, um, since after everything, people could find something that support them to that challenge and that difficult situation and that difficult emotional things that occurred in after the first word.
In the techniques, Eliot used a range of literary techniques to capture the chaotic, fragmented state of the post-war world. His use of allusion and intertextuality reference to works such as, for example, Dante's Divine Comedy, The Babel, Shakespeare, and Amster's religious text creates a dense web of meanings that engage the poem's complexity. Also, fragmentation is a key technique. Eliot chips abruptly between voices, languages, and perspectives, creating a mosaic of disappointed images that reflect a fractured society. His use of might, particularly the feature kind legend, allows Eliot to draw parallels between ancient stories of desolation and modern life, adding layers of symbolic meaning.
In regard to the style, Ellie used a modernist approach since this play, The Wasteland, belonged to the modernism. Therefore, Eliot avoided to use the traditional forms to write. Um, so he used a complex way to write, and since it is difficult to understand the plot, due to there is no a clear plot, there is not a clear um, main character or follow what is the character. And however, I think the point is that Elliot tried to show us the how he felt about the modern society after the first war, and how fragmented um was this reality. And this way to write was the ideal for in order to show us this 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 complex feelings about this reality. Another style is the ambiguity and the irony. Um, this this style um, makes reference to the language, since Eliot gave us the opportunity to to interpret the poem with our our own ways, since he put some allusions and symbols inside the poem that allow us to understand this and comprehend this with our own perceptions, I think. And finally, the juxtaposition style um, is related to the language. For example, Eliot used a mix of language, a polite or formal and an informal language. For example, in the case of informal language, he used the um, contemporary or modern songs and conversations inside the poem, and a polite uh, language he used in the, for example, the classical literature or the mythology, in order to show us mm, like both a part, like um shows how vulnerable and fragmented was the reality.
In the context in relation to World War I, the devastation of World War I served as a crucial context for the wasteland the war brought in unprecedented levels of destruction and psychological trauma, leading many to question the values and beliefs that has previously guided society. Eliot's depiction of a barren, hopeless landscape speaks to the collective grief and disillusionment of the era, the moral and spiritual decay the prototypes reflects a society grappling with the loss of stability, faith, and community. The poem's fragmented structure mirrors the disintegration of all certainties, while its use of might hints at the journey of meaning in a simply meaningless work. In this way, the wasteland is a response to the horrors of the world capturing the future human psycho and the urgent need for spiritual renewal in this aftermath.
Some reference that we used was were um, the wasteland that come from community of Madrid, and we also used the a PDF was called Modernism that we uh, found in Irene archive, and that's all.
Thank you for your attention.